Namo Phat. Good morning. Thanks for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The fourth mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others. I vow to cultivate loving speech and deep listening in order to bring joy and happiness to others and to relieve others of their suffering. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I'm determined to speak truthfully with words that inspire self-confidence, joy, and hope. I will not spread news that I do not know to be certain, and will not criticize or condemn things of which I am not sure. I will refrain from uttering words that can cause division or discord, or that can cause the family or the community to break. I'm determined to make all efforts to reconcile and resolve all conflicts, however small. For our Dharma reading this morning, we're finishing Ajahn Amaro's book, Catastrophe, Apostrophe. We're in the appendix, Images of Causation. The other image I would like to talk about concerns the process of what happens in the moment of moving from that sense of perfection and suchness into rebirth and suffering. What is the pattern that occurs? The way that you might envisage this is to imagine yourself as an eye high above the world, far above the clear waters of the ocean. All that can be seen from where you are is just a pure expanse of blue. The mind is resting in the sense of stillness and being. There is peace of mind, alertness, clarity. Then, because of careless tendencies, the attention slips from resting in stillness of being, and the eye begins to look closer at the blue beneath it. You begin to be able to discern that there is some kind of pattern. There are some kinds of shapes on the surface. This is the arising of awareness of formations, of separateness, of pattern, of this and that. Then a process of absorption follows. There is a drawing in of the attention so that the eye is attracted down, telescoping towards the waves on the surface of the ocean. It draws closer and closer in upon the pattern. Firstly, from above, you can just perceive that there is some shape there, and then as you get closer, you can see the way the patterns relate to each other, the shapes they make, and the relationships they form. This corresponds to the arising of consciousness, the forces that act between things. The absorption carries on, and the distinction between the physical qualities, formations, and the formless qualities, consciousness, becomes more definite. This can be seen as a closer observation of particular waves and the way that they move and act upon each other. This corresponds to the differentiation of experience into materiality and mentality. The process then develops as you become closer and closer to some particular wave until there is complete absorption. You pass through the development of the six senses and contact as the proximity increases, and then feeling as you connect with that wave. You are floating at ease, being carried with the wave, but then suddenly the mind is no longer free. There is no longer just the sensation of being with the sea. The wave begins to rise and roll, and the mind is caught on the crest. This then is desire and clinging. The mind is caught by the wave, and there arises the thrill of being carried along as it swells. This develops into the process of becoming, as you are swept along by its momentum like a surfer riding a big roller. There's a sense of beautiful abandonment and perfection as you speed along. There's a sense of excitement and absorption. You're completely caught with that wave, caught up with that rushing exhilaration. All sense of reflection has vanished, and there is maximum excitement. Becoming is the big hit of the mortal realm. But then, what happens after becoming? The wave encounters the reef, and suddenly from that glorious exhilaration, wham! Your surfboard is turned upside down, you're flying through the air, smashed on the rocks. Birth has happened, and here comes life in the raw, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. So there you are, struggling, can't work out which is up or down. You've lost your surfboard, you wonder which way the land is, and yet you find yourself looking to climb on another great wave. You find yourself looking for another rebirth. These patterns which have been mentioned here are just a few ways of seeing. But to really use this teaching, you must investigate and know it for yourself. We have to inquire of ourselves, what is the source of our experience of existence? What is this pattern describing? What is that feeling of perfection? What is it like to just be clear and open, totally at peace? How does that get lost? And how does that losing happen? If you inquire like this, you will see how these patterns can be traced in your own life, and consequently, be more able to free yourself. Closing quote from James Joyce in Finnegan's Wake. And the ignorance that implies impression that knits knowledge, that finds the name form, that whets the wits, that convey contacts, that sweeten sensation, that drives desire, that adheres to attachment, that dogs death, that bitches birth, that entails the ensuance of existentiality. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thanks for joining me today.